So this is the tile grid starter scene that's been provided for you. We're going to now modify this so you can understand how to create your own scene. First, on the upper left, click File, click Save As. Don't want to mess up the original starter scene. And open the Scenes folder. There's only 2 scenes now. We can call this Tutorial. You can give it a different name, doesn't matter. And then just say Save. Whatever you named it as should appear here in the upper left. And now you can modify this without destroying your original starter scene. This starter scene has a grid that's 6 by 6. That's a really big grid to start with. So we're going to make a smaller grid for this tutorial. To cut down the original grid, we need to go to Scene View. So up here in the top, there's a button that says Scene. If you click it, hopefully it looks something like this. If you can't see the entire grid, zoom out. Like if it looks like this for you, zoom out until you can see the entire grid. Should also see a red circle in the middle. So for the tutorial, we're going to make a 5 by 2 or 2 by 5 grid. So that means we're deleting a lot of these original tiles. First, make sure you're selected on this square tool, rectangle tool. That allows you to click and drag and select a bunch of things all at once. So I've selected the entire bottom half of this grid, and I can just hit delete on my keyboard. And now I've cut it down quite a bit. If I try to do that on this next one, I'm going to delete the camera. So I recommend you work around it. Don't delete the red circle, which is the camera. So I can get these 3 squares or rectangles, delete those. I can get these 3 rectangles, delete those. I can click individually on this rectangle and delete it. I'm not deleting the entire area, I'm just deleting the rectangles. So there was a right rectangle, now I'm selecting the blue rectangle, get rid of that. This camera's still there. Alright, to check, I'll go back to Game View up at the top, and I can still see everything. If the camera were deleted, I'll do it here manually, then you get this. Okay, Control Z will undo, so if you ever do make a mistake, Control Z will undo it. Okay, go back to Scene View, we're almost done here. I'm just going to delete this last column. There we go. So now I have a game that's only 2 rows and 5 columns. That's a nice workable size for a beginner. For this tutorial, we'll stick with the theme of organic chemistry, but it'll be a little different so you can see how to make your own type of scene. On the left here, this is called the hierarchy. You may have expanded this when you are cutting down the scene. So if you just click this triangle on the left, we can get rid of the distractions. And what we want to focus on are these top tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those correspond to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right now they all have pictures, but I'm going to change that to words. So this is a little tedious, but here we go. Top tile 1. There's a gray triangle to the left. Click it. It says canvas. That's where the images are kept on a canvas. Click the gray triangle to the left of that. And you see there's a text and an image. I'm highlighting image. And on the right, there is the word image and a little check box. If I uncheck it, the image goes away. So now there it says type text here. To access that, go to the left to the hierarchy. Click the box that says text here. It's under top tile 1, under canvas, text. And then on the right, you can see the words type text here. And I want you to put 3 carbons as the text. You can see that in the game scene, or in the game view, it shows what you just typed, 3 carbons. Okay, so top tile 1 means that we're looking for 3 carbon compounds here. So I'm now going to top tile 2. Highlighted on the left, gray triangle, canvas, gray triangle, expand it. See, there's a text, there's an image. Highlight the image and get rid of that. So this one does not say type text here, but if you click on the text item in the left, you can see that there will be a blank box for text input, and we'll make this be 4 carbons. All right, so I want you to continue with top tiles, scrolling down here on the left. Top tile 3, top tile 4, top tile 5, and make them say 5, 6, 7 carbons. Okay, pause the video, come back when you've done that, and we'll move on. So I'm hoping your scene looks like this, where we've got the top tiles with the proper titles. And now let's work on these vertical tiles here. There's only 2, vertical tile 1, vertical tile 2. They work the same way. In this case, I'm just going to modify the text slightly. So I highlighted the text for vertical tile 1, and I'm going to say structure here, just so you understand these are editable. And for vertical tile 2, that has the same thing. So I'm just going to say name here. Okay, so it's you could have kept it the same and it would be fine. But just so you understand, these tiles on the left hand column are editable just like the tiles on the top. Now you can see what we're left with are a bunch of white tiles, and these are the ones that you play the game with. So these will be things you can customize. Before I get to that, let's tidy this up. So if yours looks like mine with a bunch of open windows, so to speak, we can close them up, close them up. I'm clicking the triangle to the left of each of these top tiles, and it just makes it look much neater in the hierarchy. We can see everything now. Alright, so there are 10 white tiles. They're in this final game object called set of draggable tiles. So if you expand that, you'll see they are labeled 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are this first row of 5. 21, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the second row of white tiles. So for this, the first row is going to be structures, so they're mostly pictures. So go over here to tile 11, click the gray arrow next to it, click the gray arrow next to canvas. This one we are going to keep as a text label. So here it says label for draggable tile. But this will be good for you to see. You can see it's a chemical formula. It has subscripts in it. And now on the right, you can see how that's done with the HTML coding. So it says C sub 3. So sub means a subscript. Then you can see it says /sub. So that means we are out of the subscript mode. So C, subscript 3, out of subscript mode, H. H is big. Subscript 6, close subscript, oxygen is big, subscript 2. So we want this to be 3 carbons. It's actually going to be propane. So in place of a 6 here, you need to type an 8. You can see in the game view it says C3H8. There are no oxygens in propane, so I'm just deleting that part. So I'm deleting it over here, and now it says C3H8. Alright, and that's it for tile 11. I can close it back up on the left side. For tile 12, that's going to be this one right here. It is going to have a picture instead of text. So I expanded it, and now the label is text. And I'm just going to go up to the upper right hand corner, click that little box. Text is now gone. Now let's look at the second item in the hierarchy, image. So the image right now on the right, you can see source image 100% transparent. So there's nothing to see here. But we want to put a chemical structure there that has 4 carbons in it. So I have given you the images that you need for this tutorial. Look here under assets, there's a folder, tutorial images is what it is. And so I gave you 4 structures with varying numbers of carbons. So these are images. I just downloaded them from the web. You could draw them yourself with ChemDraw. I prefer transparent PNG images, but any image will do. So if we go back here to the hierarchy, click on image for draggable tile 12. And we can take the one with 4 carbons, which is this diethyl ether, and drag into this source image box. And now you can see on screen, there it is. There's a chemical structure with 4 carbons. Okay, I'll close up tile 12. Go to tile 13. Expand, expand. Click on label, deactivate the label. That's the text. Boom. Blank tile, because the image for draggable tile 13 is 100% transparent. Find a structure here that has 5 carbons. Drag it over, and there it appears. You could, instead of dragging, there's another way to get to images. So here on the right, there's a circle with a dot. If I click that, it'll show me all the image files in this project. So if you don't have an overwhelming number of images, this is a good way to do it. So click and drag, or select from the list of images here. Again, that was circle with a dot. Click it. Choose your image from there. All right, so we're going to do the same with 14 and 15. I'll do it in fast motion. You can do it at your own pace. All right, there we go. So I hope you've now completed tiles 11 through 15. Tiles 21 through 25 are going to be names. So I'll just do one of these, but you can do the rest. Tile 21, expand, canvas, expand, label. This is not going to be pictures, this is going to be words. Label for draggable tile, highlighted it. Text input on the right, that is propane. Propane. Okay, and you can see propane, boom. 22, expand canvas, label, diethyl ether. So you can complete names for the remaining 3. Pause the tape, come back after you've done the labels for the other names. So there's my names. You could make them be different if you wanted. For example, you could have said this is methylbenzene. It doesn't matter as long as it lines up. So now, before we click play, we need to check to make sure these white tiles are directed to the proper slots in the game board. So first I'm going to tidy this up on the left by unexpanding every tile. Alright, so I'm starting with tile 11. That's this C3H8. On the right, there are a lot of things we don't worry about, so I'm minimizing those. They have the same structure, right, with the gray arrow. And here it is, drag it 2D script. This has a couple of variables that are important. Correct position in grid is what it says. You can't see the RID, but it's correct position 11. This is slot 11. So that's good. However, you can see below that multiple correct positions in grid. So in this case, that tile used to be one that could go in 2 different slots in the grid. So you want to make sure that every one of these white tiles is correctly placed in the grid. These are all unique. There's no duplicates. So therefore, you want to go to the right and say, no, there are 0 multiple correct positions. There's just the one, just 11. All right, let's go now to tile 12. That also has multiple correct positions in grid, so let's take that away. Highlight this 2 and say 0. All right, so now that's only going to slot into space number 12. Okay, 13 similarly has 2 possible slots right now. Make it only slot 13. Okay, looks like every single one of the tiles on the top row had this multiple correct positions. Okay, I'm now looking at tile 21. That looks good. It's only slot 21. 22 is also only 1. So these all are fine. So before I actually click play at the top, I will ask you to click on this tab on the lower left. It says console. So this is a dialog box. If you have errors, they'll show up here. And then I'll click play at the top. So what's going to happen is it shows one tile at a time, and you can drag that tile, and you're supposed to figure out where to put it. If you put it in the wrong place, you'll get a no-no sound, and some points will be deducted from your score. So if you know where it's supposed to go, you get a happy sound and it turns green and you get points added to your score. So this is how you play the game. You don't get a new tile until you've placed the old one. And you can see as I'm going along, it's counting my percent correct. And I'm not doing very well at the moment. But the point of this is for students to learn, so it's a way that they can practice. And if the score is no good, just try it again to try to do better. If I get everything in the right place, then there'll be some applause and a happy song, and that shows that you've done it right. So you notice there was a penalty for wrong answers. You can change that if you want. On the left, there's a special tile called score tile. If I highlight that one, then here in the inspector on the right, you can see there is a variable penalty for wrong. And you can make that, if you want to be mean, make it 5. And now 5 points will be deducted when a student puts the tile in the wrong place. Okay, default is 2, but you can change it. So when you like what you've done, on the left you can see there's this little asterisk. That means you have unsaved changes. So there's 2 ways to save. Easiest is Control S. Highlight this, Control S will save it. The other way is up here in the File menu. You can just say Save. You can see there's a shortcut, Control S. All right, now you're ready to actually build this so that other people can use it. And that's a different instructional video for how to create a WebGL build and then post it so that it can be played by other humans.